I'm Tana Barnes. My position here at Discovery Science Center is I am the Director of Guest Services and Administration. I am in charge of, once we open, the front desk and the ticketing and the gift shop, as well as planning and executing events here, ranging from children's birthday parties to weddings to concerts and everything in between. Before coming to Discovery in 2018, I was the office manager of a veterinary hospital in New Haven County in Shelton for 13 years, working at the front desk. Every day is different. My old job, you went in, there was appointments, and that was what happened. Here, you never can tell. You can go from, again, throwing a wedding to having a concert to getting to run the planetarium, to a school group coming in, to doing accessibility events. Every day is different, and it gives you a new challenge every day. The technology here is mind-blowing, which is one of my favorite parts of the planetarium, and the SOS are definitely my favorite aspects of the museum.
Hi, I'm Eileen Bakos, and I'm the Director of Development here at Discovery Science Center and Planetarium. I'm responsible for bringing in the dollars to help pay for our exhibits, our programs, and our overhead. Predominantly during this pandemic, I've been writing grants every day, and we just had a virtual fundraiser that was very successful and is going to help in our reopening. Before I worked here, I worked at Habitat for Humanity of Coastal Fairfield County, and I was the Director of Corporate Development. So I brought in teams and brought in money to fund those teams, and they all built houses and had a wonderful time doing it. One of my favorite things about working here is the people that I've met here, the new things that I've learned here. On my very first day, I saw a planetarium show and learned a new constellation.
Hi, I'm Dave Mestry. I'm the project coordinator for Sacred Heart University's Discovery Science Center and Planetarium. My job is to build a relationship between Sacred Heart University and the Discovery Science Center. I work with professors and staff, even work with students. Part of my job is to coordinate meetings and work with different types of people in the SHU University, build relationships between the staff here at the Discovery Science Center and with staff and faculty over at Sacred Heart University. We're working on projects too, projects that can work with high school students in terms of being able to help them decide what kinds of careers they would like to take part in the future. Maybe even work on some projects with university students to help them become better teachers and even better learners, and to help them to understand how they can be great communicators of science as well. So before I worked here, I actually worked for the Boy Scouts of America. I was an executive, and in that position, I actually worked with volunteers and also with some youth as well. I was a camp director. I did some fundraising. I also did training. It was an opportunity for me to understand how important it is to build relationships with people. When you build relationships with people, you can build really effective teams. And these teams are really what makes projects happen. You can't do anything alone. That's kind of what I did beforehand, and I sometimes use a lot of what I've learned in that old job, even today. One of the things that I find is that working with a science center, we have really good, strong relationships with people in our community. A lot of people in our community look to the Science Center for things like information about what's happening in science. I worked in space education or in the space sciences. And so whenever anybody in our community wanted to know what was happening with NASA, what's happening in space, what's even happening up in the sky, they turned to us, the Science Center. We also made science kind of fun and exciting. And so part of what we do is as good science communicators, is make science something that's approachable so that anybody can do science, anybody can understand science, and anybody can appreciate science. All we needed was you to be curious. And if you had that, then we could take care of the rest, giving you information, giving you trusted sources, and at the same time, making it kind of fun and exciting. And that's part of what I think makes working in a science center so unique.
Hi, my name is Elliot Severn, and I'm the Planetarium and Center Technology Director at the Discovery Science Center. I'm in charge of the Henry B. DuPont III Planetarium and all the technology in the Science Center, including our exhibits. A little bit about my background. I went to the Trumbull High School Agri-Science program, where I learned about biotechnology, and I went on to get a degree in environmental science from Alfred University in New York. After that, I worked as a photographer documenting rocket launches for various space news websites, and eventually started teaching summer programs here at the Science Center, and eventually became a full-time educator here. Right now I'm here in my office, and this is our planetarium content creation station, and this is where I create most of the shows for our planetarium. And while we've been closed during COVID, I've used this content station to live stream programs to schools and other programs around the state. And if you come with me, I'll take you on a little tour of some of the technology in our Science Center. Alright, so usually the first thing I have to do every day is turn everything on that we're going to be using. So we're going to start out with our Science on a Sphere exhibit. Alright, here we are at the Science on a Sphere exhibit, also called SOS for short. And it's a big white ball suspended from the ceiling. And around the room are 4 HD laser projectors which can shine different globes onto the sphere. So all the technology that runs this exhibit is hidden away in this closet here. So in this closet we have a bunch of things. We have the front projector for our planetarium, which is in the other room there. This is the computer that runs the Science on a Sphere, and it has 4 display outputs which run up to these Ethernet extenders which run up into the ceiling into the other room to supply the 4 projectors with power and with a signal. So let's turn this on. Alright, so here are our data sets here. We have over 850 to choose from. We're just going to start with the blue marble map of the Earth. And we're going to go to projector control and turn these on. Alright, so when I click on, it should make all 4 projectors fire up. Let's see if it works. Alright, so here is our Science on a Sphere with a map of the Earth projected onto it. And as you can see, all 4 projectors seamlessly mesh across this globe. Now it's very important that all 4 projectors are perfectly aligned with each other. If one projector gets bumped and is off by a fraction of an inch, these images will not align and you'll get blurry parts of this globe. And now we're going to head out of the Science on a Sphere gallery, and we're going to head into the Henry B. DuPont III Planetarium. So here we are inside the planetarium. It currently has 87 seats, and in the front and in the back, it has 2 4K laser projectors which project onto this 33-foot wide dome. And it creates an image of the night sky or an image of any place in space. So here is our front projector, and here is our rear projector and the operator's console. So let's go to the back now and turn it on. Alright, so in another secret closet behind the planetarium, we have our server room. So here we have the back of the rear projector of the planetarium, and down here we have our Digistar server rack. Now there are 3 computers in this. There's the host, which controls the planetarium, and then there's GP1 and GP2. So GP1 controls the front projector, GP2 controls the rear projector. So we're going to start all three of these up. And if we take a look at the back, you can kind of see how they're hooked together. All three graphics cards are connected, so all three graphics cards spit out the same video frame at the same time. So we're going to let these boot up now. And while we do that, we're just going to turn on our audio rack here, which controls our sound system. And we just turn a key to turn that on. And now we're going to head back into the planetarium. Alright, so here we are back at the operator's console in the planetarium, and we are ready to fire up the projectors. And as soon as the projectors are fired up, we can bring down the lights and make it pitch black inside the planetarium. And once it's pitch black, we're going to project a test grid to make sure that our two projectors are lined up properly. So here we can see projector 1, and back here we can see projector 2. In the area with the small boxes is where the two projectors are overlapping. Once we make sure that our grids are perfect, we can project an image onto the dome, and it will project in full 360. And now, enjoy the show.
Our universe is filled with beauty.
Now, if our projectors aren't perfectly aligned, there is something we can do about it. Above our projectors around the dome are some cameras and lasers which can automatically align the projectors. So the projectors shine a test pattern. The cameras look at that test pattern and tell the computer how to adjust the image. And in a matter of minutes, it can create a perfect grid even if I were to move one of these projectors out of alignment. All right, so now let's boot up our Challenger Learning Center. So here we are in the Challenger Center Mission Control Center. And there's a lot of technology in the Challenger Center. It has about 40 computers which all have to work together in order to run a simulated space mission run by students. So here in Mission Control, everybody has a job, everyone is on a team, and there are members on both the Mission Control side and the spacecraft side of each team. Our spacecraft is full of cameras, and so students in Mission Control can watch all of their tasks as they work in the spacecraft. Now, a part of my job is to make sure that everything in the Challenger Center works. Here in the back of Mission Control is where all those computers connect. All of them are wired up on network switches, and they connect to this main server over here. Now, through this door is a secret entrance to our spacecraft, which also has computers for each station, but it also has other technology. There are instruments for the different stations, like the medical team and the life support team. And there's the isolation team, which has robotic arms. So all of this technology has to be supported and be ready for our Challenger missions. And so that's just a little behind the scenes tour of our Challenger Center and some of the technology that operates it.